And then the second word for me is acceptance. And 2012, I think for me again, the loss to Roger, it was actually my son's christening, and we were all sat around watching the final, and everyone was completely grasped by it all. But the, you then opened your heart to the world. You showed that vulnerability. But I remember something you saying is maybe a couple of days later, you said that maybe you'd accepted that on that day or on that period that you might never win a Grand Slam, and that almost became when the floodgates then opened a little bit, which is one of my beliefs in the mind. Sometimes when something's too big, we can't accept that we're never going to do it. It's so hard to get there. So how defining was that for you? Because it felt like you coming out to the world and speaking like that and speaking with such vulnerability. You then went on to win the Olympics so soon after. You then went on to win US Open pretty much soon after. And then the next chance you got at Wimbledon, you then won Wimbledon on the back of that. Was that again how defining was that kind of acceptance moment and that vulnerability moment?
Yeah, so yeah, when I lost that final in 2012, yeah, it was definitely most like upset, disappointed I'd been after a match, and it wasn't just like on the court. I was like really, really down after that. For quite a few days. And I'm not 100% sure if Roger said it in his speech, but I'd heard it a lot over this period. When I'd got close to winning slams, it was like, oh, don't worry, like one of these will come your way type things. Like you're going to win one. And it doesn't work like that.
No,
And
it
you've
doesn't.
actually seen it in this generation now, the generation after, my one. So in between Alcaraz and my one, that there's very few players that have managed to win slams.
Yeah.
And it was not easy winning slams against those guys. And I was fine. That was another thing that was, making it hard, was that when I got to those major matches, Grand Slam finals, I was coming up against guys that won like anywhere between 6 and 14, 15 Grand Slams. And it was tough. And I remember like a few days like after that match, obviously I had the Olympics was just a few weeks away, and the experience that I'd had at the previous Olympics in Beijing, I'd totally blown it. Like I arrived there off the back of winning Cincinnati. I was probably one of the favorites going into it. And I got like completely carried away with like, I went to the opening ceremony. I think I was playing the following day, just hadn't drunk enough. I'd lost something like I weighed myself after my match. I cramped in the first round and lost in the first round of the Olympics. And I'd lost like 5 kilos since I'd arrived, and was so excited about being in the Olympics and, being part of the opening ceremony and, meeting all the other athletes and that sort of stuff that, just taking my eye off the ball, like what I was actually there to try and do. And I promised myself, like, if I ever get the chance to do another Olympics, like, I'm going to do like everything to, you know, try and, try and have a better experience, and try and win a medal. And that off the back of that Wimbledon loss, where I, really down and disappointed, I had like 2.5, 3 weeks before the Olympics started, and I was like, okay, this is the position you're in last time at the Olympics. You need to get yourself back on the court and training again. And you're doing everything that you can. Like, you can't put in more effort and more work than what you're doing. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, like, it's okay. Because yes, like winning tournaments and winning majors and all of that stuff is great. I'm not going to say otherwise. It's brilliant, but not everyone is able to do that. And what really matters, and I don't think this is just in tennis, but in all walks of life, is that all you can ever do is give your best effort and try as hard as you can. You can't do more than that. And at that moment after Wimbledon, between the Olympics, was where I probably accepted and realized that for the first time that, yeah, like this might not happen. You might not win a Grand Slam, but you are doing everything that you can to give yourself the best chance to do that. And it so happens that off the back of that, you know, I won the Olympic, won the US Open, and it's easy to sit here today and say, oh, it was just purely because I'd accepted, you know, that
Yeah,
I
of
might,
course.
you know, I might not do
Yeah.
it. But I do think that having that sort of slight shift in mentality and mindset, you know, it did help me a little bit. It certainly helped me to get over the Wimbledon loss and helped me to prepare properly for the Olympics.